Speaking on behalf of Martha is her husband, Jack Roderick.
Thank you. Thank you, Jane. I may get a little weepy. And thank you, Elaine, for welcoming Martha into your group. I appreciate that. And thank you for inviting me to say a few words about Martha. A brilliant and adventurous companion for 54 years in Alaska. She loved Alaska and the life she found here. She came to Alaska from Boston in 1955, just for the summer, as she liked to say. I think a lot of people say that, right? Her first job was selling ads for a traveling circus. And when she went to pick up the ad at the Cordova Airlines, they told her that one of the two stewardesses had just quit. And did she fit the uniform? And she did. So for that summer, she flew all over Alaska on charters. And they flew twice a day down to Seward, you know, and then she also flew down to Icy Bay, where Phillips Petroleum was drilling for oil. And in my book, I tell about how she was accused of being my spy. And just for the record, she was not. Her Cordova Airlines stewardess instructions were, in case of emergency, take this axe, smash down the plane doors, and get all the passengers out. That sounded like Merle Mudhole Smith, the owner of the airlines. We married in the fall of 1955 and returned to Seattle, where I was finishing up law school. At the time, she helped type, or she typed, and mimeographed my OR report that gave out, and of course the money from that allowed us to pay for our school and stay in school. And meanwhile, she was raising our two daughters. Martha's great love was teaching people to read. Having grown up in Knoxville, Tennessee, she remembered how her grandfather would pay his garden workers, mostly African-American citizens, to stay after work so he could teach them to read. She never forgot that. For over 40 years, Martha volunteered as a reading tutor in Anchorage's elementary schools. She was particularly attracted to tutoring the multiracial students at Fairview Elementary, particularly its boys. She would sometimes tell me what they said to her when she asked them what they were interested in. One of them said heavy equipment. So she went out and got a book, a manual on heavy equipment. And they read it, of course. One boy said, the kids think I'm dumb. And she said, well, what do smart kids do? Well, they play chess. So, of course, she got a book on how to play chess. She didn't know how, but the two of them read the book and learned how to play chess. But my favorite is the one she was talking about how girls, of course, and boys, but girls, it came up, and he said to her, oh, Mrs. Roderick, the only thing girls can do is learn. That is kind of my worldview, too. In that most of the women I know keep learning so they can stay smarter than the men. One year, Martha spent her permanent fund dividend check to buy a book for each student at Fairview. The best way to get a kid to read, she believed, was for them to own their own book and take it home with them. When she died in December of 2008, our family set up a Book for Kids fund, which you've heard, at the school district. Last September, our daughter, Libby and Sella, and our two granddaughters, Ada and Molly, gave each smiling child at Fairview a book that they could take home with them, and we think Martha would have liked that. I'll end by citing several quotes I particularly like from the many written tributes to Martha. One said, Martha had a wicked sense of humor, and she did. She quietly but firmly pushed back against any kind of discrimination and injustice. And she did. Finally, she leaves a little tribe of strong women to keep up the good work. And she did. I loved her, and I still do.